Hi, welcome again. And I really enjoy the topic that I'm going to talk about tonight because it's so practical and it makes such a difference to how you feel so quickly. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the spirituality of grounding, a bit about the health benefits of grounding, but really it's in the practice, and I'll talk about how you can ground your energy. And in actual fact, today, as a case in point, I took a session this morning online, and then I've worked pretty hard all day on my computer. I'd normally have a break, but didn't because it was so wet. And my energy was feeling a bit low, and I'm like, ooh, I've got to take another session tonight. So I popped outside in the rain in bare feet on my back garden. Spent probably a few minutes out there talking to my rabbit, and within the space of a few minutes felt completely refreshed, and here I am. So that is the proof before I even talk about it. Okay, we are connected to the earth. Okay, we are part of the ecosystem. We're on this little planet that's spinning through the cosmos. And when we connect to the earth, we don't just connect to our planet, we connect to all planets, to the cosmos, to the greater whole of the whole universe and more. So when we align with the earth, we really are aligning with our place in the universe. And sometimes as human beings, we have built these amazing cities that almost isolate or disconnect us from nature. Okay, in civilizations in the past, and many civilizations now still live much more in connection with nature than we tend to. It tends to be a novelty to connect with nature for us rather than an everyday thing. And this is a shame, because when we connect to nature, we connect to an essence in ourselves, a flow of energy, because at the energetic level, through chakras in our feet, through our base chakra, which is the main chakra that we ground our energy to the earth through, we come into a flow of energy from the earth. So literally energy comes up through our feet and into our subtle energy body. It's one of the ways we are energized. And this is why if you go somewhere where you're happy to be bare feet, say you go to the beach and you're barefoot in the sand, and then you go and paddle in the water, in the sea, you will feel amazing. You're full of energy and vitality, almost quite childlike and excited, quite playful. And that is the energy coming in through that connection with the earth. It also grounds us we ground our energy. We come into a relationship with the cycles in nature. So quite often we can forget about the cycles. Sometimes if we live in an artificial environment, we turn lights on when it gets dark outside. We don't necessarily get up at sunrise and go to bed at sunset. We eat some foods all year round rather than in season. And so we come out of alignment with those very natural seasons. And the seasons of nature help to keep our health, help to keep our energy strong, our immune system strong, and our vitality strong through the effect of light on the pineal gland. So when you do come into the cycles of nature, you will find that you feel just more settled in yourself. You feel energized and you feel a part of things. You feel connected. And this is part of the reason that when you get jet lag, you feel so disconnected and so not right in yourself, because you really have spent too much time not grounded up in the air in an aeroplane, which is unfortunately not our natural place to be. Okay. And you are also, all the time zones in your body clocks and all of that has been disrupted through melatonin in your body. So we ground to the flow of nature, we ground to the evolution of our planet. And this is a sort of deeper spiritual connection, if you like. The evolution, our planet is like a being, a living being, and that being's evolution, we are, can you hear me okay? I'm getting a message about the speaker. Yeah? Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let me just have a little look. Sounds breaking up a little bit. Okay. Let me just pause the recording and just have a little look. Okay, let's see how that goes. So that, where was I? Yes, talking about our planet as a being, and we are part of the evolution of that being that our planet is. And so we need to be connected to our planet to remember that we are connected. So this connection, the other thing about being grounded, if one of our main roles here in life is to spiritualize matter, so to bring higher vibrational spiritual energies down into the material world, into our physical bodies and into life as we know it, we can't do that if we're not grounded in this world. And this is sometimes what happens when people spend a lot of time intellectualizing and reading about spiritual topics and information without actually living it and practically applying it. And this can mean that all that spiritual energy, all that higher energy is not actually being brought down into physical matter where it can work its magic to raise the collective consciousness. And so this is another reason that we are down here on earth. We as souls are immortal, and between lifetimes we can spend time in different planes that are of a different vibration to here, and we're not in a physical vehicle or a physical body. And in that time we do different work. But while we're down here on earth, this is our opportunity to make the most of what they call earth the school for souls. So this is like coming down and going to quite a challenging school to learn the things you've got to learn, to develop the qualities you've got to develop, to work through the karma and things you got wrong and things you got right in the past, until eventually you come to be all that you are. You become a fully realized, enlightened person. So you can't do that if you're not actually here, if you're sort of halfway, sort of not here and sort of here. So we need to have a foot in two camps. And so this is what I've talked about before, in that you feel as if you walk in two worlds. So you have a normal existence out in the life where you just go about your everyday life and do the things that you need to do. But when you close your eyes and close your senses and your perception of the world, you go into a deeper place where you become aware of an inner world. And the more that you meditate and spend time in that inner world, the more you come to understand that inner world. And so sometimes you can feel like you've got a foot in two camps. I've almost got these two lives. I've got my inner meditation life and I've got my outer worldly life. And quite often you think you have to keep them separate until you come to realize that no, the wisdom and the clarity and the calm and the peace and things that you come to develop in your inner life, you're here to bring it into this outer life, if you like. So those qualities that you develop in, say, meditation and other contemplative practices, you bring into the world, okay? But you've got to have your feet on the ground in the world to do that. Or you won't be very effective. You'll be all theory and no practice type of thing. So the other, and this is the idea behind the quote, we're here to bring heaven down to earth. or to materialize heaven on earth. So that inner world, if you like, you can think of it being in touch with qualities that we would call heaven, and we're here to bring it down to earth. And we can't do that if we're not connected to the earth. Okay. The other thing to realize is that you can't work on higher chakras, on opening the higher centers and being open to energies coming into those higher centers, unless you have grounded in your base chakra. So Muladhara, your base chakra, which grounds us to the earth. If that is not connected, you can't really effectively do the spiritual work on the higher levels. It's, I don't know if you've ever come across in teaching Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Anyone who's a teacher will be nodding, yeah. Okay, what Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's like a pyramid. And it says if the very highest learning and self-awareness that a child can develop is at the top of that pyramid, there has to be certain things at the foundation and the base of the pyramid for that child to be able to learn. So right at the base of the pyramid, the child has to have had enough food, water, and be warm. Okay, if they're cold, hungry, tired, or thirsty, they won't be able to concentrate and learn. That's fundamental. And then the next sort of level is they need to feel safe in their environment or like they belong. And this is where in school they, you know, if they're being bullied, they're not going to learn. Okay, they don't feel emotionally safe. And you move up this hierarchy of needs. Well, it's the same with being grounded. Grounded is like the base of that triangle. And you can't work at higher levels of self-awareness if you haven't got the base in place. Okay, it's like the foundation of a house. The house is going to fall down if that foundation is not rock solid and connected to the earth. Okay, we're a bit the same. So it's about, the base chakra is about feeling stable, feeling secure, and trusting that your basic survival needs will be met, feeling that you belong. It's almost tribal. Okay, your base chakra is tribal. You want to feel like you belong to the human family, that sort of thing. So I look at, say, for example, the coronavirus, and if you were to look at the way different nations, how the people in those nations have responded to their leaders, and whether it has brought out a collective better qualities in people, or it's brought out collectively not so good qualities in people, I believe it's got a lot to do with if the leaders or the leadership in that nation were aware that they've got to really address people's most basic survival needs if they want them to work and operate and behave on a higher level. So if their livelihood and their financial security is in question, if their health and safety is in question, if these lower, most basic needs are not safe and secure and people can trust, there's no way they're going to lift up into the higher heart qualities of compassion for others and doing their bit for the greater good and giving up some of the freedoms in their life to care for the health of others. They're not going to be able to operate at those higher levels because they're caught up in fears and doubts at the very base of their chakra, the very basic needs. Now, if there was a leader that knew to ground their whole nation in belonging, so I can think of a leader, and you probably know who I'm talking about, who did this. Really clear about how she was addressing the nation's safety needs. Really tough, clear lockdown rules. Really clear on the money she was putting aside to meet their financial security needs. Really clear on the time frame so that people, clear as kind, people were certain and could feel secure. really working on bringing the country together so they felt like they were all working as a team, as a family, and they belonged to this collective effort to keep everyone safe and get them through this crisis. And I think we probably know that the leader that did that was the Prime Minister of New Zealand. And so she was operating, whether she understands this in this context or these terms or not, she was operating from a place of Maslow's hierarchy, or she was meeting the needs of the base chakra so that people could lift up above the solar plexus into the higher heart qualities. And that's what happened. That's what we saw as a collective. So that's just an example from my kind of ponderings on it. What I want to do now is just look at a little bit of the documented health benefits. There's not been a lot of scientific research on grounding, but it is a key area of research. And if for no other reason, because people are starting to cotton on to the fact that there's money to be made because there's all sorts of products coming out. You can get products where you attach something to your bed and it goes out through your window and down to the ground to ground your bed, for example, because they know that you sleep better when you're grounded. Okay, so there's all sorts of things coming as a result of this research. But what we do know is that science knows that electrons are transferred from the ground into our body. So that's an electric current or a field or a force that we are connecting in an energetic way to the earth. So the flow of the earth's energy gives us a lot of vitality. Many people, when they're grounded, find that they sleep better. That's a key. And the sleep seems to be deeper and more restorative. A lot of people find if they are in pain, that it reduces pain. Okay, and it seems to be that what it does is it works on especially inflammation. Okay, so especially chronic inflammation. And the what one of the studies found, especially to do with pain, it alters the circulating neutrophils and lymphocytes and affects the chemical factors related to inflammation and improves the blood flow. So that's actually sort of biochemical evidence that grounding is positively affecting our health. It seems that it might even work a bit like an antioxidant. And what an antioxidant does in your body, you have these things produced in your body whenever there is aging of cells or there's infection or inflammation, called free radicals. And these free radicals often combine with extra oxygen that's about in the body, and they create chemicals that are quite damaging to cells. So free radical damage is thought to be responsible for premature aging, for example. They think it might be what starts off the coronary artery disease or the lining that develops in your arteries that leads to heart problems. They think it may even be the initial damage to cells that is triggered in the cancer response and the development of cancer. So this is why, for example, when you eat a nutritional diet high in antioxidants, it takes away, it gets rid of the extra oxygen that's about and prevents this free radical damage. And that's one of its major health benefits. So what they think with grounding is that it has a similar effect to this antioxidant and somehow neutralizes these free radicals. And these are generated whenever you have cell damage, trauma, stress produces a lot of free radicals and other toxins that come in from our environment. And if you look at our environment, even in a normal person's home, we're exposed to so many more toxins than even 50 years ago. Okay, definitely 100 years ago. I mean, in some aspects, there's fewer toxins. We have less pollution and things than they did in the Industrial Revolution, for example. but we do have toxins, you know, in our water, in our air, and increasingly electromagnetic toxins in our environment. And that's probably a whole nother talk, that one. So what they've found, it seems to be this damping down of inflammation. And inflammation is a very hot topic in health, because they're starting to realize, excuse me, that inflammation seems to be a factor in most health conditions, and certainly chronic conditions and autoimmune conditions, a big factor. And it's funny, well, it's not funny, but not surprising. We do know that as people open their chakras, as they develop spiritually, and those chakras start to open to receiving more energy from our environment, higher spiritual energies, quite often that process causes inflammation in the body as part of the transformative process. And sometimes from a soul level, we could see that inflammation is creating dis-ease in the physical body. That means we have to address certain lifestyle aspects or ways we live or emotional issues we have from our past in order to move through that development. So sometimes that inflammation in the body, although not nice to experience, it's the catalyst for change. The person often has to change their lifestyle and sometimes the way they're thinking, okay, and delve into what's going on in their subconscious mind with their conscious mind. So it seems to be this reduction in inflammation and increase in blood flow. And the big one, the effect on sleep, because when you get really good sleep, it affects especially the neurotransmitters in your brain, which is responsible for your mood. Okay, so good sleep really helps us to be happy, if you like, to helps us to feel mentally strong and balanced. So in this way, grounding is helping with that. And it's something I've been reading about lately, but if something you might even want to delve into, as we start to understand more about that the universe is, we're almost coming to a point where we may have to change our whole idea of how the cosmos works. And there's a lot of theories now coming out looking at a different model of our reality based more on what they call an electric universe. So the idea that it's energy and the flow of electric currents that defines our cosmology and our universe, rather than a model that's more mechanistic and based on gravity and things. But that's, it's a really hot topic because it questions lots of our current beliefs on lots of things. And maybe that's something, I don't know if I've quite grasped it enough yet to teach it to you, but certainly an area that I'm exploring, and maybe I can bring that to you when I've done a bit more research. But fascinating, because it connects, it suddenly things like vibration and energy healing, and healing with sound and healing with vibration, and the fact that we can be both a wave and a particle, we can be solid and energy, it just makes sense. And so that's a topic, that's another topic. Okay, right, the last thing I want to do before we go into meditation. Okay, so hopefully I've convinced you that for the good of the planet, for the to help us spiritually to move and grow and move forward, grounding your energy is good. It's good for your health. So how do we ground our energy? And this is the, you know, this is the bit you need to put into practice. So barefoot, okay, if you can get barefoot on the earth, that is the best. So you know, this time of year, in the UK, it's not so bad. A bit more challenging in the winter, but as often as you can, even if just barefoot in your house, it means there's less between you and the earth. Some people, for example, if they're not sleeping very well, they move closer to the earth, or they move their furniture around in their bedroom or something, or sometimes they just sleep downstairs and suddenly they're sleeping a whole lot better and their health returns. Lying on the earth. Okay, so perhaps not today when it's pouring with rain, but you know, if it's a nice sunny day and you've got a patch of grass, especially those who know yoga, lying in the crocodile. So in Makrasana, where you lie with your hands, lie on your front, your hands on your forehead, your feet apart and your heels turned in and your toes turned outward. And Makrasana, the crocodile, is probably the best yoga posture for grounding your energy. Works powerfully. And this is one of the reasons why it is such an incredible posture. And you just lie in it and surrender. Breathe with the earth. Okay. Whenever you swim in natural water, so paddling at the sea, going for a swim in a river or lake if it's safe, swimming in the sea, even feet on a dewy lawn or a wet grass, anything where you are connecting with natural water will ground your energy. And you'll notice it really vitalizes your energy. Things like, there are many practices that have grounding exercises, specific grounding exercises in them, like Qigong, like Tai Chi, and like yoga, where we have things like the tree. You think how grounded trees are. They have their roots deep in the earth all the time. And that's one of the reasons that they're so adaptable to the seasons and to storms, because they're rock solid connected to the earth. And that gives them the freedom to sort of sway with what's going on the surface because of that rock solid connection. And notice that these practices like Qigong and yoga and Tai Chi, and some martial arts, we tend to do them in bare feet. Okay, we don't wear shoes. And that's part of the reason they are so grounding. Sleeping on the earth. And this is one of the reasons people still love camping. You know, you might have a bit of a stiff back if you're not used to it, but the energy that you get from sleeping on the earth. You know, some people like going wild camping. You know, kids, when they go camping, they love it. You know, animals love it. There's something fundamental about sleeping in contact with the earth. So these are some ways that, so what if I'm stuck in a 4-story building in the middle of a concrete city without any plants in my house, or without any way of really connecting to the earth, no parks, or you can still ground your energy. And energy follows thought. So simply having the intention of sending energy either down through your feet or through the base chakra, through the base of your spine, and imagining you're sending roots down into the earth, has an effect to ground your energy. Okay, so that intention needs to be strong. Use your will energy, but that will ground your energy. And the other thing you can do, which I'll teach you now, because you can do it sitting in a chair, and we've done it in yoga in my classes standing up. But it's just as effective sitting if you want to. I can teach you a little Qigong exercise. It's really simple, that grounds your energy. So if you've got shoes on and want to take them off, you can. You can do it through socks, but it's probably better if you've got bare feet. Okay. Now all you do is, don't have your feet crossed, have them apart and on the floor. And you just imagine that you are breathing in through little gaps under your toes. You're breathing along the sole of your foot, and you're breathing out through a gap in your heel. And you've got to imagine that that energy is coming all the way up from the earth, however high you are up in a building, coming in through those gaps under your toes. The energy is going along the sole of your foot. It's going out through the heel of your foot, back down into the earth. And you just close your eyes and you imagine that cycle as you breathe. So you breathe it in under your toes, you breathe along your foot, and you breathe out through your heel. And you do it about 7 to 9 times. You'll know, because your feet will start feeling heavy. You'll know. So just have a go at doing that now, just to see what it feels like. And just notice how your feet feel. If they're starting to feel like you've got lead boots on, that's grounded. But the thing to notice also is what's happened in your mind, in your head. Do you notice that your mind feels clearer? There's a bit more space in there. And you may also notice that you've come into an awareness of your body. So when we come into awareness of our physicalness, that helps to ground us, because our physicalness comes from the earth and is part of the earth. It's elemental, if you like. The other thing about grounding, which is something that's a real bonus, in any organization, for it to be successful, you need someone in the leadership who is grounded. And any family to work effectively, you need someone, at least someone in the house who is grounded. So often in families, you'll have someone who is the rock, who grounds the rest of the family. And sometimes the loss of that person, everyone will feel lost, and they need to be grounded again. And then perhaps someone else will step into that role. In an organization, if you don't have someone who's grounded, it won't be successful. It'll be full of ideas, but they won't get put into practice. So it's fundamental. People who are grounded, we tend to be attracted to them. We find them attractive because we have an intuitive sense that they are in touch with what's important and that we can trust that. And this is why people who are grounded are often very good at attracting money energy. Okay, so if you really have trouble with money coming in and going out and not sticking around when you need it to, you need to look at whether you're grounded, because money is just a form of energy. And when you are grounded in the earth's energy, there is an abundance and a flow. Okay, so quite often issues to do with money will be to do with beliefs in scarcity, rather than, look out in nature. She's abundant. Okay, and that's another reason why getting out in nature helps us so much, because it brings us back into the truth of that abundance paradigm, if you like, that abundance truth. So being grounded, people trust you, they gravitate towards you, and it does, if you're too much up in your head. So if, say, at work or something you're doing during the day, you're just, you've been using your brain, you will find you'll start getting quite lightheaded and a bit overwhelmed and almost a bit like this. That is a sign that you've lifted too much of your energy up here into your mind, and you need to bring it back into your body, and you need to ground your energy. So just simply getting up and going and making a cup of tea, or meeting some physical need of the body, having a glass of water, or going outside for a few minutes and sitting in the sun, or just sitting outside, will just clear that away and restore your energy. And you can then come back, and you're coming back in from a place where, oh, right, okay, and you're completely refreshed. So quite often people don't realize that just taking the time to go and have that break can make them a lot more efficient and looks after their health. Okay, so that's enough about grounding. Hopefully I've convinced you it's a good idea. I would like to do the meditation now. So I will just bring up on the screen to get yourself comfortable, feet on the ground. Better if your legs are not crossed. And we will have a look at this affirmation of love to begin with. Right. Okay, so get yourself comfortable. You want your spine reasonably upright so your chakras are aligned. Feet on the ground, so we're connected to the earth. Hands comfortable in your lap. So forget about everything I've just talked about and come into this moment. And we're just going to repeat, either to yourself, say it with me, or just listen to me and repeat it in your mind, the affirmation of love that will bring us into our heart. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Now gently close your eyes, and we're going to begin the meditation by grounding our energy. So I want you to imagine that you are sending roots either through your feet or through your base chakra down into the earth. So have the intention to make that connection. And now lift your energies up into the area of your heart. And I want you to have an intention that we are going to connect as a group and work together in this group meditation. And that includes those who are here live and those who are joining us through the recording. And now I want to bring you into the present moment. And we do that by connecting with one or two of the senses that bring us into our body. So first of all, connect with your sense of touch. So feel your body sitting on the chair. Become aware of the clothes on your skin. Now turn your awareness to your hearing and just allow sounds to come in as they are in this moment. Now we're going to take this awareness inward and begin by just focusing on your breath. So just noticing the breath as it comes into your body. Notice the breath as it leaves. And just keep a gentle focus on the breath. Feel your body beginning to relax as you let the breath get a little deeper with each cycle. If your mind becomes distracted by thoughts, sounds, or physical feelings, as soon as you realize, just return to the breath. Returning with loving kindness. Continue to focus on the breath and let it take you deep into a quietness inside. Now I want you to bring your awareness to the area of the center of your chest, to your heart center. And just imagine your heart filling with light and love and gratitude. And this will open the heart center. Imagine that as you open the heart, you are connecting to your soul or your higher self. Now I want you to imagine that you are bringing white or violet, purple or gold light down from your higher self through the crown of your head, and it is pouring down into the major energy centers or chakras in your body. Imagine your heart is acting as a vessel to receive and distribute this light throughout your physical body. Visualize your whole physical body filling with this purifying, cleansing, healing light, allowing it to strengthen your immune system, to calm your emotions, and bring clarity to your mind. Now, as your whole physical body fills with light, let it flow out into your etheric body or the aura or energy field that surrounds your physical body. Until you become a being of light. Imagine that this light is pouring down through your crown into your heart, filling your physical body, your etheric body, and radiating out to fill your home. Now allow it to radiate further to fill your street. Flowing out into your neighborhood. So you become a conduit for light. Now allow it to flow out into your community. And allow the distribution now to flow out into the city or the town in which you live. Now imagine that all of our lights of those in this group meditation are joining. And from this group, the light is flowing out to fill this nation. To fill this part of the world. This hemisphere. To fill the whole world. And we join with the light of all those groups working in group meditation in this way. Now imagine you can see the whole planet surrounded by this light, as if you were in space looking down on the earth. So it's as if the planet has an aura of beautiful light. And now see this light flowing down into the planet and see it healing and restoring her. Returning a balance in nature. Purifying the air so it is clean and fresh. Purifying the waters. See the earth surrounded by a healthy layer of ozone. Envisage the healing of our planet. See all the animal and plant life flourishing. And in your heart, find the place in which you have a deep love for this planet we call Earth, our home. Now see this light flowing into the hearts and minds of all of mankind. Bringing peace, goodwill, and right relations within each individual and between all individuals, communities, nations, and humanity as a whole. Lifting our awareness and the collective consciousness so that we can choose to live with peace, and in harmony with all. Hold a space in your heart for this energy as it radiates out. Feel the connection with your group brothers and sisters as we work together in meditation. Continue to hold this energy and let it radiate out. As we approach the sign of Cancer, and Cancer rules the family and the home. When we approach the summer solstice, a time of greatest light, let this light pour into the human family and heal our home. And now gently open your eyes and you'll find on your screen the words for the World Prayer or the Great Invocation. And repeating it either silently or out loud. But Repeat it from a place in your heart with conviction. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Lovely. Namaste. Now I am going to open it up. If you have any questions or anything you would like to add, or maybe even just let us know what you do, or maybe there's something you intuitively do to ground your energy that you didn't realize that you did. Or maybe you've just realized who in your family grounds your energy. Anything that would just add to our discussion. I'm going to unmute everybody, or allow you to unmute yourself. So just kind of let me know if you want to speak. Everybody looks like they've been in a deep meditation. Even if you just tell me your experience of the meditation. I know I feel a profound energy when, especially we come together in a group meditation. It's very powerful. I don't know whether others feel that. I can't sort of see because your screens are too small. Some of you look totally blissed out, that's for sure. But maybe if you feel like sharing, or if you don't want to talk, you can put something in the chat and I'll read it out. We're all quiet today. There's no problem if nobody has anything. That's fine. Oh, Bernie, go for it. Oh, if you unmute yourself, Bernie.
Okay. Yeah, I feel a big difference between. Can you hear me now? Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. I feel a big difference between when I'm meditating on my own at home and in a group. The energy is far more intense and holistic. Yeah, I don't know what it is, and also I feel connected not just to the group but to the wider world. And also, I think a group gives you that discipline to meditate, because sometimes when you're on your own and you think, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, but to be arranged to come together at a set time gives you the that discipline to get together, I think is important.
Yeah, definitely. And
yeah.
and what you do when you meditate in a group is you actually, everybody who's meditating helps everybody else. So when you go deeper into a meditation, it's like you're helping everybody else to go deeper. And so we all kind of hold a space for each other. And that's why quite often the experience can be quite deep, and you can almost sense a lot of energy moving through your physical body sometimes. And there is that feeling of coming together to do something as a group, which is very powerful. I was reading today actually something that reminded me that each of us is like a cross, so like a crucifix. And so when we're connected through the vertical, so we're connected to our higher self and we're connected to the earth. So that is the vertical arm of the cross. The place where the horizontal arm of the cross meets is here in the heart. So when we're connected in this way and we open our heart, that means we are able to take the energies out into the world. So it's almost like the heart connected to the hands is how we give. So when we have that beautiful alignment, we have energy pouring through us vertically, meeting in the heart to go out into the world horizontally. So when we meditate in a group, it's as if we're all holding hands. And that group collectively forms a wonderful group energy that's all heartfelt and goes out into the hearts and minds of all. And so really what we're doing in the meditation and the build up to that is I'm aligning you vertically with your heart, soul, higher self, so that you can work from the heart in that horizontal to become like a cross. And I almost see an image of us, and that's why I had that image on the screen of us all, of all who are working in this way, surrounding the planet, all holding hands, with energy emanating through us, through our hearts, to enact that healing. And that is what's happening. And that's what you're feeling when we're involved.
Yeah, thank you for that, Teresa.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's interesting, Teresa, that you said.
Come a little bit closer, Linda. Yeah.
It's interesting that you said that about the circle of people, because I always get a feeling like this, as though something's whizzing round.
Yeah.
Is that the energy?
Yeah.
I just get the feeling of this circular motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that happened with my feet as well. When I was breathing in, it was as though there was a circular motion going through my feet.
Yes. And there is, because everything is cyclic in that way. That is the energy of motion that you're opening up to. Yeah. I can remember years ago being involved in a full moon meditation group. There's just 4 of us who used to work. I used to go up to Bangor sometimes midweek. I'll be coming back late, very late at night. And we got so good at working together, the 4 of us, that the energy would build and build and build. And I've never known energy like it. We would connect in a way that my whole body would be taken over by this energy, this incredible energy pouring through me, so that afterwards I would just be radiating heat for a couple of hours.
And that is due to the 4 of you having a particular bond with each other. Yeah.
We had worked very hard to come together, both from an ideological point of view and from a heart point of view. We were all working. We had built that connection, if you like. You don't have to be physically together to do that. We chose to come together physically, and we used to try and meditate outside if possible. but it was a very powerful connection. I mean, some of the members of that group are involved in other group meditations similar to what I'm doing, but I've never experienced energy like it. It almost completely took me over, so that I became like a complete channel. There was none of Teresa there. There was just the higher part of me that was doing this as an act of service. And that surrender is, as you move spiritually along your path, that surrender is a very natural thing to want to do. And it's a beautiful way to work in service for humanity. You know, if you're not able to feel like you're making a big difference on a global scale out in the world, you can make a difference on a global scale in this way. You're working on sort of higher planes of energy that have just as much, if not more, effect in the physical world. Remember the talk I did where I talked about how 15% of the planet can raise the energy for the other 85%? Yeah. Well, when we work in this way, that is what we're doing. So that's why it's not just for you. I mean, Bernie mentioned it does make it easier to meditate individually. It's an act of service. So you coming together, us coming together on a Thursday night is an act of service. Something you're not thinking about of that. You're not thinking about so much. It's something you're pulled to do. And that's heart. That's that horizontal arm of the cross. Yeah. Lovely. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Okay, what I'll do now is just to remind you, for those who want to get the Saturday is the summer solstice, winter solstice. Oh, my speakers again. Can you still hear me? Yeah. And that is a time where there is a real opportunity. It's a time where it's the greatest light that is available, and that's spiritual light as well as daylight. There's also a solar eclipse. Okay. If you go on Facebook and look for the English Heritage site, they are live streaming on Facebook the ceremony at Stonehenge. That you can, I think it's from about Hubberstate on Saturday night right through to about Hubbersford in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. They are live streaming the whole celebration. So that is a real privilege, because often we don't get a chance to connect to that. We don't get a chance to go to Stonehenge. It's also the Cancer new moon. So this weekend is really amazing energy for rebirthing transformational change, both in your own home and soul, your soul, in your own physical home, and in the home of all, the collective, so the home of humanity, our planet. And remember in the talk on the coronavirus, Ted said that things change, that I think it was the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction changes and the transits ease off from, I think it was the 22nd, around about this weekend. Things should get easier, and we are pulled into reflecting on what we have learned as a result of these last few months and how we are going to move forward with that, both individually and collectively. So a whole lot of energy going on this weekend. If you're joining my workshop, we'll talk a little bit more about that. If not, I think you'll feel it anyway. So maybe a bit of time for contemplation, both, you know, where am I going? What am I doing with all that I've learned? all that the last few months, that this pandemic, that this virus has brought up for me in my home, my soul, in my home, my physical home. We've been confined to our home, in my family, in the human family. So you can have a bit of a think about those things. Okay, thank you very much. Namaste. And have a lovely evening. Thank you.